Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Guys Who Stare at Stats. I'm Cade Kennedy here alongside Connor Gray and Andrew Santangelo, and folks, we have a lot to cover today. The NFL is finally back today. No more preseason. Actual games are here. We've got a preview that week one starting tonight with Bills and Rams, week two of the college football season, and a few more interesting stories that have happened earlier this week. So as always, as I turn it over to my co-hosts here, the question we always ask to get things started. Fellas, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. Crazy day, but what else is new in the sports world? So ready to dive into all this, and couldn't be more excited for the NFL to be back. One of the top sports, and I know you guys don't feel the same way, but I love the NFL more than college football. So no, I'm excited for that this weekend.
Yeah, really excited for NFL to start right back up. Get to see my Chiefs pretty much kick butt again like they do the last few years since Mahomes been here.
Well, we have a little bit to get to before we start that. We do have the one baseball story we're going to talk about today. The MLB Competition Committee going to vote on rule changes Friday. The eye, as it always is, it seems, in the MLB, quickening the pace of play. A few votes expected tomorrow. The first time ever, the pitch clock is expected to be implemented in the MLB. It'll be a 15-second pitch clock with the bases empty and a 20-second clock with runners on. That is not the only change. Bases will increase in size from 15 square inches to 18. Infielders cannot position themselves on the outfield grass before the pitch is thrown. Only 2 infielders will be allowed on each side of second base, with all 4 required to be on the dirt or inner grass. Eventually just messing with the shift here.
Basically, you're getting rid of the shift.
Yes, that's what we're doing, is banning the shift.
It's like, well, here's something. Why get rid of that whenever you it's like the shift is there for reasons, because batters are struggling. You have batters who hit basically one direction mainly, so they set up to where basically it's an easy out. I don't really see the point in getting rid of it.
Yeah, no, tomorrow will be a very sad day for baseball. I'm not looking forward to tomorrow when all this becomes official.
Yep.
There's only one rule I can really just say, okay, whatever really doesn't bother me. That's the expansion of not the expansion, I don't want to word that wrong. The increase of the base size, because that's just a health thing. So in reality, that's just going to prevent more injuries. It's not really going to change anything in the game. So I'm okay with that one. But outside of that, 15-second pitch clock, stupid. 20-second pitch clock with a runner on, stupid. 2 disengagements with the guy or from the rubber with the guy on base, also stupid. So you realize if you throw 2 pickoff moves, now you can't pick anybody off. The guy on first or second or whatever base is on, just steal. You can walk to the next base because they can't pick you off. They can't get off. They can't get off the rubber at that point. So I'm interested to see how this works. Because if you're a pitcher, you really don't want to throw over. This is going to cause is more stolen bases. It's going to cause more runs. It's actually going to backfire on them because it's going to cause more runs, cause more stolen bases. It's going to honestly increase the game, in my eyes, for this rule at least. So I don't understand this rule. A requirement by hitters to be in the batter's box. Whatever. I disagree with it. It's funny. Cade, the minor league game we went to, we saw this happen. The pitch clock strike we saw in that game, and the everything that happened with that. So, we saw that live actually, and you know how frustrated I got when it happened.
Yes, it was an intriguing moment, I will say.
But is that why you started with this, so you can get my rant out early?
Yeah, we're getting all the negativity out early here, I guess.
Because I even said this to UK before the show and when Josh picked his head in.
Yeah,
it was
we'll get to that in a moment.
I personally am not a fan of the clock and them trying to find ways to speed it up, because it's like it's all about strategy. The game, you're always constantly thinking of many different things to happen, and obviously seeing that they're getting rid of amount of times you can pick a guy off. It's like, how do you keep a runner honest? That it's like, because it's like you have a runner that typically can steal and has gotten a lot of bags. He can literally just wait for those 2 attempts and then just take off and take it. It's like if you're not keeping your eye on him, he's just gonna do is steal on you.
I think what this is also going to cause, and it's going to be in a way funny, because I think you're going to see a lot more errors because of this, and you're going to see it only backfire again, is what I think you're going to have happen is you're going to have some strategies here where I think you throw over once, you're going to throw a pitch. I think you're going to get a lot of catchers now trying to throw behind runners, trying to pick them off, because runners are going to try to take advantage and get an extra step on the lead. So I think you're going to get a lot of catchers firing over to, you probably won't see it too much at second, but I think you're going to get a lot of, when there's a guy on first, I think you're going to get a lot of catchers trying to throw behind him. And, obviously that's a dangerous throw either way because you're going behind the runner. So whether the guy will take off for second or, you make a throwing error. So it's going to be interesting to see how the strategy does change a little bit. I'll just try to see it from that. I'll try to see it from a normal point of view right here before. Because you guys know I don't like the rules. So I'm just trying to at least give them some respect there. But
both sides
so it's gonna be interesting to see how the strategy changes in that way. So I do think that's one thing you'll see different. I love the shift. I might be in the rarity and the minority in that one. I don't know. But I think, listen, if you have a hitter and he can't hit the opposite way, that's on him.
Yeah.
Are you going to tell? Are you going to go tell an NBA team you can't play his own defense because teams struggle to shoot when you move to his own, or you can't play man defense because you're too up and close to it? No, you're not going to go change. Are you going to go tell a football team you can't play a 4-3 anymore? No.
If we're having 1980s day and make everyone run presses and run and gun for a day in basketball, I wouldn't be opposed to that for a day. But if we went back to that and every game was 189 to 173. I don't know how I'd feel about that. But as I've said on the show multiple times, I'm an offense guy. I love watching offense. But some of these, I agree with increasing the base size. I think we're all in favor of that. None of us have a problem. The pickoff attempts, I don't really understand it. I don't understand some of these. The pitch clock one is the one that I think is the most divisive. I would say if I had to pick all of these that people disagree with. But to the point, you mentioned the minor league game we went to, Andrew. I really didn't have that much of a problem with it. I thought I would have more of a problem with it, but over time as the game get on, until that strike, I didn't even think about the pitch clock. And then finally looking over, oh yeah, that did happen this year.
The thing is, one thing I've always noticed, whether college games from high school, college, and seeing minor or major league games, is that guys typically are not, especially when it comes to, obviously there's no runners on base, they're already moving less than 10, 12 seconds. They're already getting moving, so there's really no word. I don't know why they would even have that unless the guy literally just has a long wind-up time, which not very many have. But my whole thing is, if the 20-second clock also goes in when you have runners on base, that goes into the playoffs, I have a bigger problem with that because game's on the line. If you aren't able to, because it just it ruins the pace of the game and how to set it, because it's you're developing strategies and just the fact is that you're trying to, we got to speed it up. It's how are you going to keep runners honest, keeping them especially you have a guy who can is going to go steal, but he has to wait forever just to go do it. It's you're making him waste more energy waiting to go than actually take out. That way you actually can get him on after throwing to the plate. There's a lot of different things that why it's just I don't think it's regular season, fine, you can have that in there. That's not as big a deal. My issue is when it comes down to games that really matter for playoff position or especially late down the stretch or especially the playoffs. That's where it's a bigger issue for me, not necessarily throughout most of the regular season.
Yeah, I don't know. I disagree. I don't like it at all. I'm in the camp of I'm with you on a lot of this. So. No, I'm just saying I disagree sorry, I didn't finish my sentence. I disagree with the MLB here. I really don't think it's gonna decrease many games.
It won't.
They've implemented the in between innings clock a while ago. It really hasn't changed the dimension of the game. My thing is baseball's lived off the strategy. They're doing way too much with it, and it's a shame. I remember, 10 years ago, I used to love, you had a manager come out, you make a double switch. You had to figure out, okay, even if my guy's throwing a 6-inning shutout, he's batting in the 7th inning. Do I want him to hit, or is this where I pitch hit for him and try to steal a run, and you win a 1-0, 2-0 game, you trust your bullpen? Obviously that's gone now this year. I don't know. All my favorite things about baseball are starting to go away. I know
it's okay. Manfred hasn't just banned the Phillies yet.
Yeah, that's next, right? I just don't. My thing is here. Congrats. What you're gonna? I would love to see, and I mean, I'm sure it's out there. Without the clock right now, what is the average pitch time in between? I doubt it's more than 25 seconds. So congratulations. Are you going to speed it up that much? No. You might go 3 to 5 seconds here and there throughout the pitch. But, again, to me, if you – the problem here is Manfred's trying to get guys who aren't baseball fans rather than keep the borderline and true baseball fans, and it's going to backfire. I mean, you look at the attendance these days. The whole point of this was to speed the games up, make them quicker, get the attendance back. I mean, you look at some of the attendances in these parks. I mean, it's laughable right now. I mean, everything he's implemented. You take away every pitcher's got to face 3 batters now. Obviously the DH and everything. And here's what's funny too about it is all these rules. I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially in a way they're benefiting the offense. Correct?
Yeah, it's basically trying to benefit offense.
So if you think about it, if your offense is going to go up, what's going to happen to the game? If you're going to go from a 5-4 game, you're going to increase the offense to 8-7, 8-9, whatever you want to call it. What's going to happen? The game's going to go longer.
Yeah, the game's going to go longer.
So that's what's funny to me about this whole thing is everything here is benefiting the offense. It's going to increase the offense, increase the amount of runs per game, which is going to cause more pitches per game, which is then going to cause a longer game.
Yeah. Just to add some of the stats here that I was looking up
I was also trying
during this is the average pitch time we have as of 2017 was around 24 seconds, and the average MLB game this year is 3 hours, 10 minutes long. The average minor league game last year was 3 hours, 4 minutes. They added the pitch clock. It got moved down to 2:36. So that is what they're trying to implement in the MLB, I would guess. Make every game around 2.5 hours to make it more appealing, like you said, to people who don't follow baseball as much. They'll say, oh, okay, I can fit this in a 2.5 hour slot that I can in 3. Is that kind of dumb to fret over 30 minutes? Yes, if you've already dedicated the time. Like, if I'm going to watch a game, I'll dedicate the time. But for some casual people, they are weird, but that's why they're not baseball people.
I just want to make sure. For the minors, was it just the pitch clock rule that was implemented? Or did they implement this other stuff?
This article, at least from what I can tell, does not say because it's a Washington Post article. I'm not paying to read it.
Okay, but from what I can tell, it sounds like they just only implemented the clock. If it's just the clock, then that can be better on time. But the other stuff that have been implemented with this is not going to help speed the game up as much as they claim. Because a lot of the stuff can cause games to go just as long, or if not longer, because if you're scoring a lot of runs, that's just extending the game out a long time.
Yeah.
So because being at some games, it's like, okay, it's going quickly, and then as soon as you hit the inning where a team is going off, that's an extra 30 minutes to over versus what the other innings were, and that just either puts the game at the time it is approximately going to end or estimated on average, or it goes longer. It never shortens unless the other innings decide to go bang, 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 which that's not going to happen with baseball. Yeah. Because the way I see it is their attempts is to turn baseball from chess to checkers, and all they're doing is making it much more complicated in the grand scheme of things.
No, without question. I mean, again, my final thing, I mean, you just look at it. He it's almost like he wants to be more a part of the game, and he needs to control everything from his standpoint. Like, you just look at some of the rules. Like this year, the three batter minimum. This year, you can only have, I think the maximum is 12 pitchers on your roster because he doesn't want so many pitching changes. Yeah. You can't put a position player into pitch unless you're up by 6 runs or more, or unless you're down 6 runs or more. Like, he just wants control over everything, and that's the issue here. And listen, I will continue to say it every time I talk about this, and I always end with it. If he actually wants more viewers, if he actually wants more people to watch on TV, make it easier to watch the game. Yeah. Your blackout restrictions are 10 times harder than any other sport. It makes it more difficult than for anyone to watch. There's Phillies games I can't watch when they play St. Louis because I can't use back home because then it's too close to the Philadelphia market if I log in with my home address, and then I can't watch it if I log in with my Oklahoma address because it's too close to St. Louis. And there's 6 games a year that I'm not going to tune into because of the blackout restrictions.
Welcome to my life.
But that's my point. Like, especially for average viewer fans, like if you're trying to get them, let them watch the game. And it's nothing against Oklahoma or whatever other city or other state that doesn't have a true home local team.
Yeah.
You're like, for your example, you live in Oklahoma. Your favorite team, St. Louis. You make it impossible, or they make it impossible for you to watch your favorite team. There's six teams right here in Oklahoma that we can't watch because of the blackout. You know how many of those teams are in Oklahoma?
Zero.
You know how many of those teams are within 2 hours of where we are? Zero. And we can't watch those games. So that's 6 teams that are kind of local, if you want to call 6 hours local or whatever, that you have a potential fan base to draw into a different state that you can't. So if you want to really get more viewers, figure that out.
Yeah, I was about to say, I enjoy my 5 times of the year I get to watch the Cardinals. It's great. And it's always when they're on Sunday Night Baseball or Saturday baseball.
And Connor, I think you're a Kansas City fan, right?
Yeah.
They're blacked out too, I think.
No.
They're not blacked out anymore.
I get them every.
Well,
all
I'm
the
talking
time.
about MLB. Okay, I watch them on MLB TV because I don't have cable.
Okay.
So they're blacked on MLB TV.
I think on MLB like that, and I think regular cable from every now and then. Yes, they are blacked out, but I don't deal with that because of the package I have. Okay. So
so you have the sports package. I do not because I don't want to pay an extra $20. But baseball aside, we've gotten all the negativity out. I think I don't know. There might be some hidden animosity somewhere in here, but we're gonna take a little mosey on to talk about Clemson and Dabo Sweeney getting a 10-year, $115 million contract that he signed. And my only question is why? Why right now? I could understand last year. I could understand next year. I don't understand this year. To me, it's kind of a prove-it year for Clemson. You just had your worst season. I know, 10 wins, how terrible. Last year with DJ Uiagalelei as your quarterback. You just lost your offensive coordinator. You lost your defensive coordinator. This is a prove-it year to see if you've still got it, in my opinion. If he has a successful year, they win the ACC, go to the playoff, throw all the money you want at him. Dabo's clearly proven he's still a winner. But I know it's been a long time since we've seen what Dabo looks like without his coordinators. It was not pretty. They got boat raced by West Virginia in an Orange Bowl. I want to see how Clemson looks this year before I give him this giant, $11 million a year until 2031.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like I can pretty much agree with that, but they're just trying. It's just one of these things. They're just trying to lock Dabo down, and they're not caring whether it be proving it or not. He's been the most successful coach they've had in a long time. I know he's been there for years at this point, but still, they're just like, we got to lock him down. We don't care. We're locking him down. I think that's the mindset. Even though you think that they would want to see, okay, how is he going to do this year since they arguably had their worst season of over almost a decade. So I can't really say much about that. I just think it's a smart thing to lock him in, but I feel like, they should have waited until after this season.
Yeah, the only reason I disagree with that, or that last part about waiting until the end of the season, and I see what you're saying, Cade, but Connor, you were spot on with it, and the whole first part is they felt the need, they have to lock him up. Mm-hmm. You look at the direction of the game right now. You look at what happened to Brian Kelly. They wanted to wait. That became a mess. He goes to LSU. Cross sports, you look at, this is the local example because I'm a fan of the sport, but Brad Underwood, he wanted more money. They waited to the end of the season, couldn't come to contract. He left. So, that's just the direction I think these, especially in college right now, that's the way it's going. You look at other coaches, obviously we can go on with different teams. Yeah. You look at some of the smaller market too. They don't have the money to offer that, and obviously coaches turn around a program and then go ahead and move on to a different spot. So, no, Connor, you're spot on. The whole thing is they felt the need. They want to lock him up. He's obviously been a great coach. He's been there before. He's ran into other issues before. He's overcome it. And, essentially, obviously it's a ton of money, but by the end of the season, now this is the starting point. That's the other thing. You wait to the end of the year, say so-and-so signs that deal, now Dabo, he's going to want more money. Yeah. So here, he's the setting point, and now other coaches can follow there. But no, this is a move that they just want to lock him up, feel good about it, not have to worry about where he's going and everything. So I can't blame Clemson for doing it, to be honest.
We will see what happens there. And, it'll probably work out for him. I highly doubt it doesn't, unless, some amazing collapse happens.
Until Nick Saban retires and Alabama's like, here's $15 million.
Yeah, here's all the money we have in the state.
I think it's Enjoy it. If Saban like retire in the next few years, which he won't.
He should, though.
But if he did, Dabo would take up the offer right away.
That Nick Saban should retire the moment OU joins the SEC. That's all I'm saying. But we have one more fun tweet to get to. This is Rick Ballou out of 1010 XI Jacksonville Radio reporting that he spoke with someone earlier today. Dion Sanders to Georgia Tech is a real possibility.
Ooh.
This is a real thing that might happen. Georgia Tech, as we know, coached by Jeff Collins. They are currently trying to figure out how to run a football program still. You had everything go your way. You still got beat 41-10 by Clemson. Absolutely disastrous game, I would say, for Georgia Tech, considering the circumstances there. Would Deion Sanders fit at a program like Georgia Tech? Would this be an odd couple situation? Two, personality-wise, you think of Georgia Tech as an institution. You think of Deion Sanders and who he is and what he's been doing at Jackson State. Is there any way this would realistically work?
Yeah, I mean, it's on him. I mean, obviously he's got his name. You'll get recruits just because of his name. That way, if he's with the program and everything, so it's going to be on him. Can he control himself, run a team? I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. Can they make it fit? Absolutely. If both sides make the money work, he goes in. Obviously, Georgia Tech's not where they want to be right now, so is it worth the risk? I mean, at this point, if you continue to kind of keep going down that trend, yeah, it's worth the risk. You gotta find a way to bring people back to your program, and I mean, getting a name like Deion Sanders is possibly a way to do it, and we'll see what happens. But obviously, it's on him again. But yeah, I think it's possible for both sides to get done.
I mean, with Georgia Tech being where they're at, they're literally in the smack dab middle of Atlanta.
Yes.
They're like, you think that not. It's like, I understand. Like, it's like obviously a prestigious school, great, not a good school to go to, and it's like they've had history of success before. Heck, they have a shared national title. So it's like they've had great teams throughout their history. Just obviously they haven't been good in almost a decade in regards to where they would like to be. And just obviously you're going through so many different coaches, and I think plus Dion can bring especially with his personality, he'll rejuvenate life into that program. He'll be able to get the kids up and going, and obviously, like you said, Andrew, help with recruiting, especially what he's been able to do at Jackson State, able to make them a solid school in FCS. So I'd say it's worth a shot as long as you make obviously you have to be able to have circumstances or conditions where he'd be willing to do it. Obviously, he could probably just, no, I want to stay at Jackson State. It's like, that's up to him.
Yeah, so. I just think it would be interesting to see Deion Sanders come in. Okay, the kids have to have these academic standards. They have to do this. They have to do this. They have to graduate through these classes. Pretty much putting a guy known for not being on a leash on somewhat of a leash. I think that could be an interesting scenario.
Yeah.
But it's time to talk college football this week. We're going to get into it first, NFL last. But we have a slew of games to get through this week to talk about. I'm not going to go into every top 25 game because I don't know what analysis we would give for Arkansas State, Ohio State, other than, Ohio State's probably going to win.
Ohio State by 60.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion the Buckeyes might pull that one out. But we're going to start with game day, big noon, the game in town, 11 a.m., Alabama coming to Austin, taking on Texas, 20-point favorite, Crimson Tide. People are excited about this game, man. It's something that I love seeing. Two big-name programs going at it. You've got Texas fans who believe that this is the turnaround moment. It all started when Colt McCoy got injured in the national title game. That was the downfall of Texas. Alabama only took off from there. Can this be the moment to change their fate? Can they beat Alabama in Austin, or are they going to crash and burn harder than we've ever seen Texas do?
It's going to be a resounding no. It's like, as much as Texas fans want to somehow believe that Quinn Ewers is their savior. Heck, he said something where he's basically saying, "Oh, we're going to hang 50 on it." I'm like, I'll believe that when I see it.
I mean, if they do and they still lose, you got other problems.
Yeah, though that's mainly the defense just being bad, and all the offense just not able to overcome it. But it's like Alabama is just, they're basically better than they were last year overall. And obviously Texas didn't really play much of a better team. Well, neither of them played a really good team per se.
How dare you disrespect Utah State like that?
I'd say Utah State was a better opponent than ULM, but I'd say, but Alabama, they're just gonna. It's like there's a reason why they're favored by 20.
Yeah.
I would have even upped the line on that, or at least up the spread. But it's just like Texas has a lot more to prove than Alabama. If Texas loses to Alabama, it's just gonna say, oh, you're still not that good. But obviously, we'll have to see how the performances will be. Well, but this will be Texas's true test. Do they actually put up a fight, whether they win or lose, and say, hey, we can play with you guys, or they're gonna get killed? I just do not see Alabama losing this game. I would say Alabama wins by by 30.
I think I'm going to surprise people here. I think it's going to be closer than people expect. I think Texas covers the spread. Alabama wins. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Texas, there's obviously a lot of hype going around. I think they're going to jump out, keep it close in the first half. Be one of those games, it's somewhat close. Everyone's having fun. Oh, is Alabama going to lose this? Is Alabama going to lose this? It's going to be like one of those fun things they always joke about. And then the second half, Alabama will pull away. I think you're going to look at like a 34-17 type score in this one. Don't get me wrong. I think Alabama's obviously better than Texas. I just think the crowd's going to be into it, obviously. Cade, you mentioned it, how hyped Texas is about it. I don't think it's going to end up being the turning point, obviously, because I'm not picking them to win. But, no, I think there's still some momentum out there for Texas to go grab in the beginning of the game before it kind of lets loose a little bit. But I'm going to say it's a little closer than people expect. And I'll say Alabama wins and Texas covers.
All right.
That's fair.
To me, I kind of have the same script with you, Andrew, where I think Texas is going to come out in the first quarter. Bijan Robinson's going to make a big play. Xavier Worthy's going to make big plays. Texas is going to score early in this game, and it's going to surprise a lot of people. And everyone's going to start having this, okay, is Texas back conversation. It's going to be a one-possession game at halftime, and Alabama's going to turn the Jets on in the second half.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Alabama will win the game by like 24 or something like that. I'm going to pick Bama to cover. I think they get the win. I would not be surprised if this is a 45-21 game or something like that.
So let me ask you guys this, and this, obviously I'm going to use this one as an example, but this goes for any big game, whether it's NFL or college. You're obviously Texas. You're a huge underdog. You're not expected to be close to win this game. You win the coin toss. You throw my offense out there, gain control of the clock, try to score, and see if you can kind of roll the game from there, or you kick off, see what your defense can do, hope they keep you in it in the first half, get the ball in the second half. I'm curious. I'll say I'm in favor. I'm usually kick the ball, but if I'm this big of an underdog, I'm lean sometimes for give me the ball first. Like I'll throw the Eagles Buccaneers last year out when the Eagles basically had no chance. Obviously ended up being a blowout, but I was like, go win the coin toss, give me the Eagles the ball, see if you can go out there and get things done early.
I still think I'm in the position of kicking it just because I want to see what my defense can do. If they start off well, I feel a lot more confident running some fun trickery, I guess, on offense earlier in the game. Kind of try to catch Alabama off guard. We ran our vanilla offense last week. Here's what we can do now. Watch this. However, as we all know, that could backfire horribly. You're playing the number one team in the country. If you get down 7-0, you're going to have to do everything in your ability. But I think if that's the case, your game plan can stay the same. You're okay. We're down 7-0. Unleash the hounds. Do whatever we need to do.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm probably going to be on the side of just Texas I'd rather Texas just have the ball. I want to see how their offense does right out the gate. See if how they'll do against that defense. Obviously, it's like I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Texas can't score on Alabama. It's like their offense has too many weapons for them not to do it.
Yeah.
If it's going to come down, does Quinn Ewers just not play well? That's basically what it's going to be, if that's going to be the case. But it's like Alabama's offense. I expect them to. I don't really see much improvement on that defense for Texas as much. I mean, like, is it going to be better than last year? Yes, but I don't think it's going to be like anything try to stop Bryce Young. Alabama is going to be too good on that offensive side. And probably I think they probably just don't. The only reason why I could say them, I'll go with that. I had something else I wanted to say, but I'm not going to.
I mean, to me, the big thing for Texas here, my big key would have to be just hold on to the ball. You win this game by making Alabama sweat a bit on defense. If you can get 5, 6, 7-minute possessions going, you have Bijan Robinson. You're going to be able to run the ball a little bit. You have Xavier Worthy. You have skill position players to go to. Make it easier for Quinn Ewers. This is his first big game. You cannot do trial by fire, first quarter, first drive.
Well, yeah, and that's why I think you take the ball.
Yeah.
Because if you give the ball to Alabama, they go march down the field 7-0 automatically right away. You're scaring your defense already, and then you're playing from behind from the get-go, and now for a guy making his first big game start, he's going to want to get you back in it, and you might start throwing the ball more already. I know it's only one touchdown early in the game, and you shouldn't, but, just all that piling up could cause that to kind of derail a little bit. So you get the ball, you start with the run game quick, gain a couple first downs, let everybody breathe, then throw some passes and kind of get things going. But, no, I was just interested in to see what you guys thought.
Yeah. But moving on to the next game we have, the other big game in the state of Texas that day involving a Texas team versus a team that starts with an A. App State, Texas A&M. We had to get really specific there. But App State, 19-point underdogs in this game. We saw what they did last week against North Carolina, played a really fun game there, 63-61. Mountaineers, they can put points on the board. They give up a lot, too. And going up against Texas A&M, who had a comfortable 31-0 win, wouldn't call it the easiest win against Sam Houston State. Can the Aggies show signs of improvement? Yes, they can. The question is, will they against App State?
I was going to probably say I'm expecting this one to be kind of a bit of a shootout. I think App State's offense is explosive, will give the Aggies defense some issues throughout the game, not consistently, but here and there. A&M's offense, because of how App State played against North Carolina, giving up a lot of yards. I could see Aggies not having as big of issues on offense, though I still do not trust their quarterback. But I'm not going to pretend that Aggies aren't going to lose. I think A&M will probably win by about 14. I think it's going to be close-ish game, but I think A&M will pretty much, their defense will slowly take over.
Yeah, I'm shocked by some of the lines here. The over-under only being 54. I think that says what Vegas thinks a little bit about A&M's offense. Because like you said, Cade, Appalachian State's going to go up a lot of points. I would take the over here because I think you're looking at a 40-20 type game, 44, somewhere in there. Not necessarily even covering even 37-20. I mean, only 17 points, but that's going to cover the spread, or the over/under. So that's what shocks me here a little bit. I like A&M to just barely cover the 19 and hit the over. I think their offense and defense mixture is too strong here. I mean, hopefully Appalachian State makes the game. Might just take a little fourth quarter magic.
It very well could. We've seen what App State has done to people in the past. No matter it be home or road, they always play their hardest. I think they'll, as they always do, come into Aggie land, play better than everyone expects. It's going to be a close game for 3 quarters, but when the A&M defense has to make a play, they get it done. So I think App State covers but loses by 17. A&M will pull away with 2 big scores late, and that'll be all you need to say. But moving on to the next game, Kent State taking on Oklahoma. Oklahoma a 33.5-point favorite. Sooners, I mean, they look good against UTEP. You could also say, well, it's UTEP. That's a very reasonable thing to say there. Kent State, I mean, they were able to put points on the board against Washington. They put 20 up. That'll be a better test for Oklahoma. So I would think we're all in agreement Oklahoma wins this game.
Yeah.
But to me, the bigger question is, can Oklahoma cover that monstrous spread they have?
That's going to be interesting because it's going to depend on how OU's defense handles Kent State's offense. I don't think OU will have really that much of a difficult time scoring I just think the spread's way too massive, but they did give them a huge line, 72.5 points. So I'm guessing they're expecting a lot of scoring, but that's basically thinking that OU's going to get like 50 and Kent will only get like 20.
Yeah, I did the math on it earlier today. The Vegas is projecting a 53-19 game.
I'd say OU like 48, Kent State like around like 27, 30 points. Like mainly Kent State gets some of those last bit of points late in the game because your backups are in.
Yeah.
But I still say it's not going to be like an overall butt kicking. It's going to be like OU's just going to get like maybe like score right out the gate and then just bide their time and build up the amount of points. It's because they're going to do what they did at UTEP, like get 21 early and then pretty much just slowly build up that lead.
It's going to be a blowout. 72.5 is way too high for me. Think about it. Even if OU wins this game 42-20, that's under. Mm-hmm. Even if they win this game 52-20, that's under. Like that, to me, I'd be shocked if this game goes above 72.5. I think Oklahoma doesn't cover the 33.5. That's just too high for me. I think the final score in this one's going to be like 42-13 around there. I know it's 29 points, pretty close to 33, but
pretty similar to the last game.
Yeah, no, I think that's what you get out of these type games, and I think OU has no problem on Saturday.
I think they do not cover as well. I do not see a world where Oklahoma beats Kent State by 35 or more. Would I love it to happen? Of course I would. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. I could see somewhere, maybe a 49 to something, I don't know, type of game where, I don't know, I guess 49-17, something like that, get close to it, but not right there. Just that's too high of a number.
I think I'm the only one who's giving Kent State a bit more credit for their offense, seems like, but I am having some of those points scored late in the game. So.
Yeah. And, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to where, OU starts rolling and then, you have all your backups in, you get true freshmen playing, Kent State scores a few times.
Well, I have to also take value in last week's game. When you look at who's better, OU or Washington?
Oklahoma, hopefully.
Oklahoma, obviously.
No, that's my point. At 45-20, so if Washington's able to beat Kent State by 25 points, OU's going to be able to take care of business.
It's more of I'm suspect on their defense. I'm not big on the offense being like how they used to be in the past. That's just kind of how I'm looking at it, because even though you say, well, they took the starters out sooner, it's like it was 21-10 at the half. That's still
28-10. Little difference.
Not really much of a difference, but anyways, it's like you still almost kept that. That was almost way too close than it should have been at the half. But obviously, yes, you eventually got up by 18, but still 11. It was 11 really close toward the end.
But anyway, moving on to the next game. Baylor taking on BYU, another, future Big 12 rivals game here, I guess is the best way to put it. Going to be a fun one. Baylor is the underdog in this game. 3-point favorites for BYU. They're expecting it to be loud. It's going to be rowdy. It's a night game in Provo. What else would you expect? Baylor getting their first early test of the year. Can the Bears pull away and win this one? Or is BYU going to get the big upset to start the year?
Could they? Yes. Will they? I don't think so. I like BYU in this game. The home atmosphere. BYU is a very good team. I think they're undervalued a little bit. I think both defenses are going to come out into play. I think it is going to hit the under here. 53.5 to me is a little high in this game. I think you're looking at a very close game. You're looking around, I'm going to go, I'll say 24-21 BYU.
I feel like it's like with BYU, it's going to come down to a last-second miracle. Feels like, well, that's what I feel like. I'm not sure if that'll ever happen, but for this one, it's like it'll come down to Hall's performance for BYU as a quarterback. See how he does. Obviously, you're playing against I'd still say a solid Bears defense, even though they're not obvious. They don't have as many returners as they would like. I still think there'll be a really close game, like you said, Andrew. But I'm going to have Baylor just edge them out.
That's kind of where I'm going with it. Is I think Baylor gets the win on the road. It'll be a tight game. It might come down to who has the ball last, honestly. It would not surprise me. in that scenario. But I think with Blake Shapen, what he's able to do, how he's able to command that offense under pressure, even as a true freshman, we saw him do it. I think they'll be prepared for the loud environment. I wouldn't be surprised if it got to them early, but over the course of that game, Baylor figures it out and gets a close win on the road. I would not be surprised if this is one of those, 21-20 type games Baylor pulls out. But the next game, Saturday night football in Palo Alto, USC, they're a top 10 team. They're an 8.5-point favorite against Stanford. But if there's one team that's the thorn in the Trojan side, it has been Stanford over the past few years. It was that way under Clay Helton. Maybe it'll be the same way under Lincoln Riley. USC has all the talent, but Stanford always finds a way, it feels like, in some of these games. Will Stanford pull another quality upset as an 8.5-point home dog, or does USC continue their pretty good start to the season?
I want to say USC continues their start to the season. I think they're going to jump out quick in this one. I think new coach, it's going to cause some problems for Stanford. Lincoln Riley's also obviously a very good regular season coach. He knows how to win games. I think the offense is going to be just fine. Not only do I think USC is going to win, I think USC covers here, and I think they win by double digits.
Yeah, I'm also in agreement. I think a lot of the scoring is going to be from USC. Stanford's probably not going to be able to put as much up on the board, so USC pretty much takes it.
Yeah, I think USC takes this one as well. They're more talented. They have the offense they actually want to have this year, and I think they win by double digits as well. Would not surprise me if USC won by 20+ at the end of the day.
No, I agree with you.
And the next game, Oklahoma State at home hosting Arizona State. I saw Arizona State earlier today. They did their uniform reveal. They're bringing the Sparky helmets back for this game. Going to be another fun one. OSU 12.5-point favorites. 59 is the over-under. Of course, Oklahoma State scored 58 last week by themselves against Central Michigan. But Emory Jones taking that starting job at Arizona State. Going to be interesting to see how this one turns out in a battle of, who knows, maybe future conference opponents one day.
Maybe, but with this one, obviously, there's concern. Well, obviously, OSU's defense, after way they, especially that fourth quarter, good Lord, giving up 22 at the very end against a Central Michigan team. You were that's talented, but you were handling them pretty good throughout most of that. So this was more a thing of OSU just didn't finish the game. I don't think they make that mistake again, and I think they pretty much win this by probably get by 21, probably hang about 50 on them.
Okay, I'm gonna take a different approach. I'm skeptical about this game. I'm worried about the rush defense. You saw last year, you had really good linebackers, you had a good front line. This year it's kind of opposite. A lot of your experiences there in the secondary. I'm a little worried about the run defense here. After Arizona State put up some good rushing numbers, obviously, last week. I get it. It's obviously at home in Stillwater. It's going to be fun. They're doing the stripe out at the stadium, so hopefully that all goes well for them. And that's always a cool look. I always like that when teams do that. But in the end, I am worried about the defense. 44 to Central Michigan's a lot of points. I get it. You were up by over 20 and control most of the game and everything, and we probably took our foot off the gas a little bit.
Oh, we did.
But in the end, Arizona State's not that a horrible team. They're still a Pac-12 team. They still got talent on that team. They're going to cause problems in some areas. I'd be surprised if we put up a 50 number on Arizona State, if I'm being honest. I'm looking at like a 30 to 23 type game. I think Arizona State covers. And, Oklahoma State wins the game. But I think we're going to look at a close game here, maybe like 30 to 20. But I would be shocked if OSU wins this game by 20-plus points.
I think they can do it. Plus, Arizona State, they played a really mediocre Northern Arizona team or whatever. So it's like, I think they're not as good as the way the stats show overall.
We could say that argument. It's not like Central Michigan's a powerhouse school. You could say some of our numbers are kind of skewed a little bit as well. I think.
The thing is that Central Michigan was favored, is one of them considered the favorite to win the MAC. They were.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, from an overall standpoint, like I think everyone's expecting this to just be an easy game. It's going to go out. You're going to go 3-0 and out of conference play and going into the conference. I think this game is going to be a little tougher. listen, you were 22-point favorites, I think it was, against Central Michigan. Obviously, you didn't cover that. There's concern on the defense. Arizona State's offense isn't bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't think OSU loses. I think OSU is going to go out and win the game. I'd just be shocked if it's by more than 2 touchdowns, which is what the spread basically essentially has.
I think they can cover that.
I think OSU can cover it. The main thing to me is I want to see 3 things in this game. I want to see how well Spencer Sanders plays. He dropped 406, 4 TDs, 28 for 41. You're going to have to do that again to beat any, Power 5 school. You're going to have to play that well. You cannot have that many mistakes. This would be the game to have him, though, because Emory Jones, I'm still not sold on for Arizona State. We saw what he did last year at Florida. Not the best quarterback in the world. This is a guy who should be able to get maybe a couple of turnovers, big sacks, something along those lines. And like you mentioned, Andrew, the rush defense, that's going to be a big thing. Arizona State, they're going to want to run the ball. You got a dual-threat quarterback. You've got good running backs. You're going to have talent you have to stop. That being said, I don't know how I feel about this being right at 12.5 because I could see this being a 13 to 10 point game. OSU wins. Maybe they have a bigger lead early. Arizona State scores a few TDs late, makes it closer than it is. I'm going to go ahead and say OSU wins by 13 and technically covers, but I would not be surprised if it goes either way. With that over-under, I'm going to go probably under in this one. I think it might be a bit more defensive game on my end, but I think OSU does pick up the cover and the win.
I said, 30-23, so it's 53. So, yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But it'll be a fun one for sure, especially if they're doing the stripe out. Those are always fun. The next game to talk about, the surprise team of the week last week, Florida, got the big Utah upset. They're now welcoming top 20 Kentucky to town, and the Gators are 6-point favorites. Anthony Richardson looked good. He had 3 rushing TDs. Can the Gators keep the success up and knock off another top 20 team?
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by this game. Obviously, a lot of hype there for the Gators. You get that big win, you jump all the way to 12. So it's just, hypothetically, if Texas somehow wins this weekend, are they going to go up to, number 3?
Texas will be number 1, obviously. They're back.
But no, I think this is, I don't know. I always say it. I love defensive games. I think this is going to turn into a very defensive game. In a way, especially if Kentucky wants to win this game. But I love Kentucky's defense. I think that's what Kentucky's going to have to do to come out and win this game. So I think if Kentucky can keep it like a 20-13 type game, I think that's the recipe for the Wildcats to go out and win this game. I think I'm going to lean toward the Gators here because they're home. I think Kentucky covers that spread of -6, or +6 there for Kentucky, -6 for Florida. But I don't know. I'm intrigued by this game. I think it's going to be a little on the lower end scoring. I think Florida pulls off a very close game. I'll say 23-20.
I think I'm going to pick upset here and have Kentucky take one on Florida to make it 2 in a row for Kentucky beating Florida. I think Kentucky's defense is able to slow down Florida, and I think obviously them wanting to hang on to the ball as much as possible. I think Kentucky eventually gets a 3-point win on them.
I'm going to take Florida in this one. I'm going to take them to cover and get a 24-17 win. I think the Gators might be a little bit more on track than I thought they were. They were able to come out, play well. They want revenge for that game last year. I think they'll be able to shut Levis down enough that Anthony Richardson can do his thing and get the Gators a win.
Yeah, no, I think it's I think it's going to come down to probably the last possession, like you were saying with the Baylor game. But I think there's a lot of revenge factor, and Gators still have something to prove because everyone's, even myself, are like, how are they jumping from 12? So they are going to come out with vengeance.
So that is one of the bigger storylines of the week. Another big one was Arkansas getting the win over Cincinnati. They welcome upset-minded South Carolina to Fayetteville. Hogs are an 8-point favorite. We'll see what happens, though. Big-time SEC matchup, SEC rivalry. If you are technically the conference, you act like it's a rivalry. No, neither fan base is going to claim it, but it's out there. But Hogs are an 8-point favorite. Should be a fun one early in the morning.
Yeah, I think all eyes are going to be on Spencer here. Obviously he goes out to South Carolina. This is his big first test here, obviously on the road, top 20 opponent. What are you going to do here with your new team, new destination? Can you keep it close? Can you find a way to pull off the upset? I'm going to say Arkansas wins this game. I think that's a great win for them in Cincinnati. I think they're going to carry a lot of momentum into this game from there. I think, in a way, the early kickoff here benefits Arkansas. I think they'll be ready. I'm going to take the Razorbacks here to even cover.
Yeah, I'm going to take Razorbacks to cover, and actually I have them probably get like 14 up on Gamecocks. I think Arkansas is just going to overpower South Carolina, and Spencer's going to probably make too many mistakes. That will cost them the game.
Yeah, I think South Carolina will play them close for a half, and then we'll start to see Arkansas slowly pull away, similar to what happened in the Cincinnati game. Just KJ Jefferson and that offense he has around him, just fantastic what they were able to do against the Bearcats, and I think the defense will step up. I will take Arkansas to cover in this one. And then the next game we have on the list, another top 25 game. Get ready for some points to be scored in this one. Tennessee and Pitt, top 25 game at Heinz Field. It's what it used to be called. I'm still calling it Heinz Field. I do not care. That will be its name. Tennessee's a 6-point favorite in this one, but the over-under 67.5. So expecting some offense.
Yeah, I totally see. It's like obviously Pitt able to score a lot on West Virginia, and then Tennessee obviously had a blowout win against Ball State. I think, and obviously they're just continuing where they left off, especially Tennessee, especially since they're pretty much just as explosive as they're going to be last year. I'm going to pick Tennessee to win, and I think obviously major shootout between both teams, and I think Tennessee will probably get the final possession and then walk it off.
Yeah, no, I think this game's going to go back and forth. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. Obviously, both teams coming off wins. Pitt's more electric there. You get that big interception, pick six late in the game. I know it was more luck off the receiver's hands there than anything. It fell right into him. But in the end, I mean, Pittsburgh did what they had to do. Everyone's questioning. Obviously, you lose a guy like Kenny Pickett. How are they going to respond? They went out and responded, and I know West Virginia's not a top-tier team, but they went out, beat a Power 5 conference team. West Virginia's never like an easy walk-through opponent, and Pittsburgh went out and won. I like Pittsburgh here in this game to pull off the win. I mean, I'm surprised to see them 6 points underdog at home, ranked better than Tennessee. I'm going to pick the Panthers in this game. I think they have what it takes offensively and defensively to win this game.
I'm going to go opposite. I think Tennessee covers here. I think this is going to be a tight game, but at the end of the day, the Vols, they are pretty good this year, I think so. And Pitt, to me, the main thing against West Virginia is they looked like they were kind of holding back to me, I guess. They had a lot of trouble. I mean, yes, they scored 38, but they had getting these ruts where they just couldn't do anything. They let West Virginia just run right past them. There's a lot they need to fix, and I don't think they get it fixed against Tennessee. So I like the Vols in a 45-35 type game. And the next one we have here, Washington State going to Wisconsin, the 2:30 Fox game. Badgers are a 17.5-point favorite in this one at Camp Randall.
I mean, for good reason. I mean, Washington State has not that great.
Hey, they beat Idaho by 7.
Not that great. So
what are you talking about?
Wisconsin's just going to bully them. Like, they're going to run all over him. No need to really do anything, like, risky in regards to, like, passing. They can just run all over him, and they're going to easily cover the spread. And it's like, Washington State's just not good.
I agree. I think Wisconsin has no problem with this game. I think they get up big early. They control it. I think they'll cover the spread as well. I think you're going to look at this game. I think you might turn it on for kickoff, but you'll turn it off pretty quick there by halftime.
Yeah, I think Wisconsin takes care of business, wins by 20+ in this one. They'll cover the spread. The next one, this is an interesting story because Sam Hartman is back for Wake Forest. Demon Deacons are 13-point favorites. But hey, Vandy's 2-0. This is their chance. If they can get a big upset win, this is their statement game. 13-point home underdogs, huge test for the Commodores.
Yeah, is a huge test. You got to go up because you're going up against a a solid offense in Wake Forest, who played really well last year and pretty much doing what they can to probably make this season even better. And Vandy desperately needs to get a statement win, because even if it's on Wake Forest, is that, hey, they can actually win big games against tough teams. Otherwise, they'll pretty much just keep the stigma that, oh, you're trash.
Yeah, this game's going to come down to Vanderbilt's defense. I mean, you look at it that way. I mean, Wake Forest, obviously, the offense is fantastic. They'll find a way to go out and score points. Can Vandy stop them? You look at it. They gave up 31 last week to, obviously, not a top-tier team. They gave up 31 to Elon. You're going up against Wake Forest. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think Deacon's got a little bit better of an offense than Elon. But listen, this game, I don't know. I'm surprised, honestly, I guess because Vandy's home. I thought the spread would be a little bit more than 13. I think it's a lot of respect there to Vanderbilt. But I'm going to say Wake Forest goes out, gets the win, and covers the spread here.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, we're all in agreement here on this one. But, hey, it's nice seeing Vandy kind of in a big game for them.
That is a big game for them, not kind of.
Yeah. Tortilla game.
Yeah, then the interesting game here. This has been a developing story in Lubbock. Texas Tech is without their starting quarterback. They're not going to have Tyler Shuck in this game. It is going to be Donovan Smith getting the start. But it does not matter, because the Red Raiders are still a 3.5-point favorite to knock off top 25 Houston. Huge game, biggest game of the Joey McGuire era. I mean, there's only been 2 games, so it kind of has to be by default. But it's going to be fun. I like the line at 63.5. This to me screams shootout. This is going to be your old-fashioned, 2016, 2015 style. First to 50 might win this game.
It's like, if this is going to be a shootout, this will favor Tech, because obviously Tech's.
I don't know. Dana Holgerson's the head coach of Houston.
Yeah, but they still. It's like one of those things. I understand they got a shootout with UTSA, but still, that's versus like where Houston is versus where UTSA is. Houston should have won that game in regulation, not have to go with 3 overtimes. But that's probably also saying that was UTSA did a good job defensively when it mattered. But I think with this one, I'm going to pick the home crowd, especially think Tech's offense is going to be explosive, and think they'll just outscore Houston. That's pretty much it. And I think they just cover.
Yeah, I go back and forth with this one. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to go back and forth. It's going to come down to possibly, most likely, the final possession. Who's going to have the final possession? I'm going to say Houston. I think Houston goes out, gets the win on the road, barely. But no, I think Houston's capable of doing it. I think, I don't know. It's going to be tough, though, obviously. It's going to be a fun game. Obviously, an in-state game here. So who knows what's going to happen? I mean, this is a coin flip. Like, this is your true pick'em game. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to lean towards Houston.
Yeah, especially this is basically just 1 year out from them being conference rivals.
I mean, that is true. Going to be a big time game when these two play each other in the future, an old Southwest Conference game getting reunited here. But to me, last week I would have picked Houston to win this game. But now, with Shuck not playing, in my opinion, the better quarterback is now in charge for Texas Tech and Donovan Smith. I think he rallies Tech down the field late in the game, and the Red Raiders get the big upset win.
Uh-huh.
But that will wrap up our college football coverage, and now it's NFL time. We're an hour away from our first game of the season kicking off. The Bills taking on the Rams. Bills are 2.5-point favorites here. It's the defending Super Bowl champs. They don't care. Bills are still favored in this one.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, the Bills got the better quarterback. Bills have the better defense overall, probably. I think receivers, I think you go towards the Rams. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I mean, I think this is a great opener for the NFL. They won with this pick right here, which probably means it's going to be a blowout. No,
usually.
But no, I agree. I think Buffalo wins. Not that it's going to be a blowout, but I think Buffalo covers. I think you're going to look at like a 24-20 type game, but in favor of the Bills.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Bills cover, and I think it's like 27-21.
Yep, I think the Bills cover as well. They take care of business, and hey, you're the first team to win a game this season. That's always a good
So
accomplishment.
stop right there.
Yeah,
Automatic
stop
win.
the season Friday. We're 1-0. Everyone else is 0-0. This season's over. Calling it Super Bowl champs. But speaking of Super Bowl champs, I have to bring up one game for our friend Josh. He will be on the Bottom of the Barrel show with me later tonight. Niners winning the Super Bowl. That is his take. He delivers every year as a Niners fan. They're starting the season taking on the Bears. They are 7-point favorites. Do they start the quest to 17-0 in his opinion with a win?
17-0.
That's what he said.
I'm gonna say they don't go 17-0.
How dare
Here's
you.
my thing though. Listen, week 1 is tricky. You get a lot of weird games. George Kittle's on the outside of being out possibly here. He didn't practice today. If he's out, you got Trey Lance, who I think overall is going to be pretty good. But he's still kind of young. This is a game. I would not be surprised if we're sitting here talking next week and Chicago finds a way to steal this game. Overall, San Francisco is going to be probably 3 or 4, if not 5 games better than Chicago. But week 1 brings some crazy stuff just because when you look at preseason now, a lot of guys aren't playing here and there. And again, it's not like Trey Lance is Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, and he's been there like before. And if Kittle can't go, I would not be surprised if Chicago found a way to steal this game. I like Fields coming in the year. I like Chicago's leading receiver in Mooney. I like David Montgomery as well. I think Bears cover the spread.
All righty. Well, there we go. I'll have to inform Josh, unfortunately, that, maybe 16-1 will do. I don't know.
Actually, before I leave, Frisco gets their first win.
All righty. Well, I think San Francisco gets the job done. Some tells me George Kittle will play. Being the first game, I feel like he would. That's just my gut feeling on it. But if he doesn't, I don't disagree with you, Andrew. I would not be surprised if Chicago gets the win.
Yeah, remember that was the key. I did point out there. If Kittle doesn't go,
yes,
if
I'm
Kittle's
not
out there.
I'm not. Yeah,
it could change a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not throwing you under the bus on that one. But I guess we can get into kind of speed rounding some of these less important games we're not going to talk about as much. I mean, New Orleans, Atlanta, I think we're both in agreement.
It's going to be a long year for Atlanta.
It's going to be
Falcons fans.
Yeah, it's going to be long. I think New Orleans takes care of business there. We can look at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati as our next one here as I load up some of the more important games.
Pittsburgh, Cincinnati is going to be interesting. I mean, obviously, you have Mitch Trubisky coming out there. We've always talked about Mike Tomlin being a fantastic coach. He's going to keep Steelers in a lot of games. But overall, I mean, Joe Burrow and company, it's just going to be too much for Pittsburgh, especially in that week 1. You don't know how Trubisky's going to go. So I'm intrigued by it just because, the division, big rivalry to start the year. But overall, I think Cincinnati is going to be too much.
I agree. I think Cincinnati will take care of business. I have no idea what the Steelers are going to look like with, Trubisky being their quarterback. He'd come out and play amazing, and, I mean, I'd be impressed, but I just don't see it. I think the Steelers get their first loss of the season. Eagles-Lions. Now, I know we've talked about this before as, potential trap game. Anytime, week 1, crazy things can deliver. Eagles only a 4-point favorite here in the Motor City.
Yeah, no. And I think the spread kind of shows it. What I was just referring to, I'm not going to be biased. I don't like doing that.
What do you mean? The Eagles aren't going to win by 35 and Hurts is going to throw 7 TDs?
But, this to me goes the same category as the 49ers and Bears. Weird stuff happened in week 1. Jalen Hurts, again, another young guy. You can't just go in there okay, we got to expect to go out. And that's one of the things. One of the captains on the team, Jason Kelsey, came out and said, expectations is just a word. You got to go out there and play and everything. And, I mean, he's right. And you look at it as that's the way you got to, especially on the road. It'd be different, you get home, you'll have the crowd behind you and everything. I don't know if you saw this, too. Fun fact for this game. First time Detroit is sold out and selling standing room only tickets since 2017, I believe it was, not including Thanksgiving games. That was, the catch in there. But, that was just, unbelievable to me. I'm why? I guess because it's the first game of the year, maybe.
It's the Hard Knocks effect. I don't know. Everyone loves Dan Campbell, I guess.
Yeah, no, so that's my thing is, And this isn't as much as I think where we say 49ers was 7.
Yeah.
Like I would probably take the Lions there. I'm gonna lean Eagles because it's
It's
only
such a
4.
weird spread.
Yeah, so it's like 3.5 around 4. So like, I think the Eagles kind of win a 27-21 type game, 27-20, somewhere around there. But no, I think it's gonna be a battle throughout the game. Like week 1 is just odd. Like if it was week 6, I'd probably be like, okay, Eagles cover.
Yeah,
like,
okay, yeah, whatever.
Same with the 49ers, but like week 1, I'm always hesitant when it comes to that opening week, just because how weird preseason is nowadays. These guys don't play and get ready like they used to in terms of the game action.
I know, but I agree with you. I think Eagles take it here. They'll cover the spread. I mean, that's just such an odd spread.
Yeah,
Seeing
that's
4,
very
like,
spread.
okay, come on. They're not going to pull an Iowa and score 2 safeties and win 4-0 or something. But moving on to the next one, Patriots and Dolphins. This is going to be fun. We get to see the new look offense for the Dolphins. You got Tyreek Hill there. Tua's going to be throwing the ball, should be slinging it. It's going to be an absolutely great battle to get the season started with a good divisional game.
I'll tell you what, I love this division. I mean, like, how good it can be outside the Jets.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, this Dolphins team is very intriguing. I think they're going to surprise some people. Obviously, it's going to come down to Tua. Can he get the job done? In this game, I think there's going to be a lot of hype. It's going to be fun in Miami. We've seen them upset the Patriots before. I don't think it's really much of an upset this year. I think these two teams are pretty close to each other. I'm going to pick the Dolphins. I think I'm going to lean under just because I like this a final possession. I'm kind of leaning towards a 3-point win, 27-24. So it just will miss that 3.5 there. But obviously, again, 3 and 4 go hand in hand. So you could see maybe like obviously it's a 4-point win. But I think it comes down to the final possession. You might get one of those Patriots, get the ball back. Dolphins need to stop. But I like Dolphins here.
I like them too. I think the Dolphins will take care of business. Should be a fun one for sure, but I think the Dolphins keep that magic they have at home against the Patriots.
So we're just on Miami and Patriots?
No, we're talking about the greatest game, Ravens-Jets. No, I'm just joking with you. We're talking about this one. You will watch elite quarterback Joe Flacco play against his former team. The real storyline of the week.
Yeah, for this one, I think I'll just pick Miami because New England cannot win in Miami.
And then the next one to get to, the Browns and the Panthers. My game of the week, totally not biased in any way whatsoever. It's a dead even. It's a pick'em game. At home, Carolina, going to be a fun game between these two teams. Obviously, no Deshaun Watson for Cleveland, but there won't be any love lost when it comes to Baker versus his former team. I'm just excited to see this game. I want to see how these two teams play, what the whole mindset is. I know Myles Garrett has already said, of course we're going to use Baker's comments about wanting to beat us for motivation. This is going to be a chippy game, in my opinion. I really think it'll get that way, and I'm excited to see how this one turns out.
Well, the thing is, Cleveland doesn't really have a solid quarterback to work with, so that will affect a lot of the offensive front. Obviously, you can give it to Chubb, and that'll pretty much take care of a lot of things, but still, you can't run Chubb the entire time. So, and plus Carolina, Baker will obviously be healed up from his surgery, so he'll be fine. He'll be fine to play. And then Caffrey, you also have Chuba Hubbard. You have a good running back duo. Overall, I think Carolina will probably win by like 7.
Yeah, I agree here with the even line. I mean, this is a coin flip game, and here's why. You mentioned it, Connor. You can't run Chubb the whole game, but what you can do is you can run Chubb, Hunt. They have one of the best running back duos/trios in the league. Honestly, can we just throw the quarterbacks out of this game? I would love to just watch
10-person off.
I'd love to just watch Christian McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard just run against Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Like, I'm so much more intrigued by the running back depth in this game than the quarterback. I think here's what Cleveland has to its advantage. Is Baker's a very emotional player. Nothing wrong with that
That's
or
just
against
who
him
he
for
is,
it. It's
yeah.
just who he is. So if you're Myles Garrett, we already know the type of player he is. I want to be surprised to see a little late hit, like late little push to the ground a little bit to get the game started. Try to get under Baker's skin. I mean, if there's anyone that knows that how emotional that guy is, it's who his former teammates are. So they're going to try to get under his skin a little bit. You know that. Like you said, Cade, with his comments, like, I think that is going to be something. I think this game, it's going to get a little chippy. I really do. It'll be interesting to see how the refs try to control it early on. obviously, like you said, Connor, yeah, they don't have a great quarterback here. Jacoby, I mean, it's going to be tough for him to go out and get the win. You do have Amari Cooper. That could save him a little bit. I mean, I think it's an interesting line. I mean, I think it does show a little bit about Baker and his emotions for it to be even and not even have Carolina at least a point or two favorite.
I was going to say it's
But-
dead even for a reason.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it's a coin flip game. I think it's going to be pretty low scoring, if I'm being honest. And I think Carolina squeezes by like a 23-20, 23-21 game.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. As much fun as it would be to see just an absolute shootout, but that's not going to happen. Jacoby Brissett's not going to come out there and drop bombs to Amari Cooper, but he might throw it for you, but this is going to be more of a defensive style battle, more running the ball type of game, which will be amazing to watch. These are two very talented rushing teams, but I think Carolina has the edge at the end of the day being at home. And the next game, the Packers and the Vikings. Green Bay, 1.5-point favorites on the road. Good old black and blue division type of game. Should be a fun one, as it always is when these two play. Usually more fun for Green Bay, though. I wonder why.
No, without question. I'm excited to watch this game. I think Minnesota's a little better than people are giving them credit for. Another team, you're going to look to control the game through the ground, obviously with Dalvin Cook. That's going to be the recipe. Keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. Can they do it? We'll see what happens. Green Bay got better on the defensive side of the ball. We'll see what they're able to do. I'll tell you what, that line right there, plus 1.5 for Minnesota, almost makes me want to pick the Vikings because that means they're seeing something in Minnesota to keep this game close. I can't go against Aaron Rodgers here. I do think Kirk Cousins is on a little bit on the underrated side. I'm not as much of a Kirk Cousins hater as a lot of people, but I can't go against Aaron Rodgers in the opener here. So give me Green Bay. I'll say 27-23.
I'd say around same amount in regards to the score. Pretty much, it's like I think Kirk Cousins is better than what a lot of people get to say about him. I mean, there's a reason why he got paid a lot of money, but it's like I will say you're also paying for a quarterback who's still, while he can give you numbers, he's still struggles, but that mainly comes down defense also not playing good at times. But it's you're playing against Aaron Rodgers. I expect Green Bay to win the first game.
I expect Green Bay to take care of business. Aaron Rodgers does not lose these types of games. No matter who you give him on his offense, he does not lose these type of games. The next one up here, the Chiefs and the Cardinals, 53.5 is the line. That's going to be fun to see as this wants to not mess with me. Thank you, ESPN website. But the Chiefs 6-point favorite here should be a lot of fun. I would not be surprised if we get a shootout type game here early on.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. I think it will be a shootout. I think this could be a somewhere 30-27 range. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be back and forth. Arizona at home is going to help, obviously. Here in the end, though, I do worry a little bit. I know they went out. They got Marquise Brown. Great pickup there. You're still without DeAndre Hopkins, though. It's going to be a huge loss to a guy like that. And, I mean, I think he's a difference maker. I would honestly think about leaning towards Arizona if they had Hopkins in this game, but they don't. So I'm going to stay with Kansas City here. I think Kansas City wins. I'm going to go 31-27.
Chiefs. That's it. Chiefs.
There we have it.
Okay, there we go. I mean, I agree. I think Chiefs
I don't
Stamps
need-
and everything.
It's like, it's like I don't need to say anything when he already said it. It's like I'm just picking Chiefs because Chiefs good.
Yeah, okay.
Chiefs good.
I mean, I hope Kyler Murray balls out as an OU fan, obviously.
I love Kyler Murray.
Hope they do well, but I think the Chiefs take this one. Should be an interesting game. Would not be surprised if we get to 35-28 territory here.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Raiders-Chargers is the next one up on the docket. It is a 3-point advantage for the Chargers. Line is 52. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a shootout kind of in this game. You got two good offenses. Derek Carr going to be leading the Raiders. Justin Herbert leading the Chargers. You've got a lot of great skill players in these two teams.
No, without question. Devontae Adams obviously making his debut here with Vegas Raiders. Chargers are going to be at home. Listen, I think this is going to be the best division in football.
Yeah.
I really believe it. I think you could possibly have every single one of these teams coin flip, pick whoever you want to make the playoffs. I think every single one of these teams could finish above 500 on the season. And I don't know. This is a coin flip game. You kind of, I know it's not the even like the other game in the Browns, but -3. You usually give home team about 2 or 3 points. So basically a pick 'em. I don't know. I like the Chargers defense a little bit better than the Raiders, so I'm going to hold on here to the Chargers. I'll say 24-23.
I'd say all like you said, Andrew, all around Los Angeles has a better team top to bottom because their defense is overall more solid. You could probably make a statement that Vegas has better offensive weapons in some aspects, but I think but at the end of the day, defense is the main reason why you win games, and I think Chargers defense does enough to stop the Raiders, and I think they get the victory.
Yeah, I think the Chargers just slightly better here, especially being at home. They're going to take care of business, beat the Raiders. It would not surprise me at all if they split in the regular season, though.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. America's quarterback versus America's team. Going to be a fun one, as always. The first Sunday night game of the season. Buccaneers, 2.5-point favorites, a line of 50.5. Dak Prescott listed as questionable now. He had the shoe mishap earlier today. So, my goodness, Michael Gallup, of course, listed as out. James Washington on the injured reserve. Cowboys don't have a lot of offensive weapons at the moment, but they still have CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, but CeeDee Lamb can only do so much. You lose Amari Cooper, you're down 2 receivers. You're already running thin on that receiving core. Buccaneers win this game because James Washington's not playing, but no, I think in all reality, this is going to be great. Assuming Dak does play, I have a hard time believing he doesn't play.
Yeah.
But I think this game is going to be back and forth. It very well could be the game of the week here. I think Buccaneers are going to edge the Cowboys out here. I think the receiver depth will hurt the Cowboys in the end. I don't even blank on who their second receiver is going to be now. Gallup out as well, and losing Cooper. You're running thin there. They didn't really shore up the defense yet either in the offseason. So you're looking at Tom Brady going up here. I think Buccaneers win a 27-24 type game, just above that minus 2.5. But I think this could be the game of the week.
I pretty much just like Brady and company pretty much overall don't let Dallas really get too close. I think they win by rank around 10, 13 points. I don't trust Dallas. Just does not have much offensive weapons, and their defense isn't really that improved. While as Tampa pretty much has been able to keep mostly pretty much everyone together, and defense is still going to be pretty good, and I think offense with Brady at the helm isn't going to change. So I pretty much Bucks win with no issues.
Yeah, I think the Buccaneers take it. Looking at it for Dallas, though, I mean, if we go to the depth chart, you look at it, their wide receiver number 2. I mean, you're pulling Jalen Tolbert, you're pulling Dennis Houston, CeeDee Lamb. Maybe Kevontae Turpin gets some more playing time than you expect, which, I mean, hey, that's not a bad place to go if you are the Cowboys. But you just look at that wide receiver chart right there. There's no reason in my mind you would pick the Cowboys in this one. I think Tampa Bay gets the job done.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's going to be enough to get them to win, but I think you might see a lot of 2 running back type systems here. I think you could stretch Tony Pollard out to the receiving spot here. I think you make the case he's much as good as Elliott, to be honest, at this point. But, yeah, I think with the way he's built a little bit, you can stretch him a little bit there out for the receiver. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of that as well.
I would not either, and there is one game left to talk about, the Monday night game. My goodness, Russell Wilson returning to Seattle. He just got traded in the offseason. The final major storyline of week 1, Broncos, 6.5-point favorites. Line only at 44.5. So, huge game. I believe, from what I remember seeing, Geno Smith's probably going to be the starter for Seattle.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an adventure there for the Seahawks this year in their quest to do something. That's all I can say. I don't know if they're going to win anything or not. They'll do something.
They'll do something, but Denver should win this game with no issues with all the weapons they have on offense and defense. There's no way you don't slap Seattle. Seattle just doesn't have whether it's like even though I'm not it's like personally I know I've said this over the course of this show. I never thought bad of Drew Lock. It's just one of those things where he didn't play horrible. He never played amazing. It's just that everyone looks at him like, oh, Drew Lock is one of the worst things. It's like he's actually not. It wasn't that bad, but then again, it's like I think he's never gonna get any better. as a quarterback. So it's like, pick him or Geno. It doesn't matter the outcome of the game. It's just Denver is just going to slap Seattle.
Yeah, I think Denver's undervalued going into this year. I think they're going to be very good. I think Russell Wilson adds a lot. They got great receiving depth on this team. Their defense is always solid. I think they'll make a run for a deep run, possibly, if Wilson goes back to obviously the way he was capable of playing with Seattle, especially in this game. I think his first game back here. He knows the stadium, obviously. He's excited. Talk about some more emotions here going after it. And, yeah, I think Denver wins this game about 30-17.
Yeah, I think Denver takes care of business. Russell Wilson's going to look like his old self. He's going to have a great day. They're going to ball out. Denver's going to take care of business.
Well, at least he'll have an offensive line to protect them. So
that is also true. He will have a good offensive line, or at least an improved offensive line.
That's all I'll say. It's improved, not.
It might be good. You never know.
Well, we'll find
Full
out.
of surprises in week one. But there are no surprises here. We've run out of games to pick, so it is the end of the show. For Andrew Santangelo and Connor Gray, I'm Cade Kennedy. If you enjoyed what you saw today, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, leave a comment below. Tell us what you think's going to happen on Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, and Monday. We got a whole lot of games to talk about, man. But other than that, if you enjoyed it, I hope you did. Be sure to tell your friends, tell anybody, tell your neighbor. I don't know. Go tell random people about our show if you enjoy it. But until next time, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at NWTV7, and follow us here on Twitch. If you've done all that, have a good one, everybody. And the other situation I have to also mention tonight, now that we're back on Twitch only, tonight at 10 o'clock here on NWTV7, my buddy Josh and I, once again, the return of Bottom of the Barrel, watching some of the worst movies we can find on Amazon Prime. You will not want to miss that. So until then, have a good one, everybody.